welcome back to my channel. We are so close to spring. I'm seeing so many buds open up and I'm just so excited for next month. It is March 2nd right now, and by the time you're watching this video, I'm actually going to be moving my plants out of the grow room. So on the wall with the majority of my orchids, there's a pipe back there that's going to get replaced. So all of those orchids have to come out of the room. The work should be done by Saturday, so hopefully everything will be back, but maybe I'll take advantage and rearrange the room. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but that's what happens when you live in an older building. But anyway, I do have a lot that I'm looking forward to. My Monurara Millennium Magic Witchcraft is pushing out so many beautiful buds. I think I'm gonna get the best showing that I've ever had. As of this morning, it's starting to open, so you guys can follow along on Instagram if you want to see that one. Should be open in a couple of days. But anyway, let's jump right into some of the blooms that I've had last month. First up is the Pauwela Immaculate Heart Hilo Red. This is an orchid that I got from Carmela Orchids. It took 19 months to bloom from the fragrance special that I got, so it didn't take super long. This one's nicely fragrant. It kind of smells like Crayola crayons, if that makes sense. It's a little bit unusual, but still sort of nice. A little bit floral with Crayola crayon in it. It's very pretty. This is one of the orchids that I repotted once I got it, and I never repotted it again. And because it's been so dry, I'm having an issue keeping them hydrated. So I will be moving this orchid to semi-hydro. The blooms just finished because it was so dehydrated, but my environment here, I've been getting humidity between 20 and 30%. So I've taken out the humidifier to help, but it's been super dry. This is really pretty. I love the Hawaiian Cattleya hybrids. Up next, we have the Dendrobium Anosmum White. This is a species orchid. It smells like raspberries. It bloomed for me last year, and this year it's given me more blooms off that larger cane. Now, the flowers look very wonky. I have another Dendrobium Anosmum, the Little Sweet Scent. Those flowers have more structure to them, but I think these white alba versions do come out a little bit wonky, but the fragrance makes up for the shape of the flower. I find it very easy to bloom. All I did was I stopped feeding it and I kept it close to a window where it was getting temperatures down to the upper 50s, and that was enough to make it bloom. This is a really pretty one, and I hope that my Little Sweet Scent will bloom shortly after. This one, but this was worthy to show. This is my Phalaenopsis Amboinensis. It had 3 spikes. I accidentally broke off a 3rd spike, unfortunately, but it's just so beautiful, and it looks even better than last year. Up next, we have the Phalaenopsis Zebrina Mainshow. This is a tetraploid orchid. I got this orchid from Gold Country Orchids in December of 2020, and it doesn't look like your traditional Phalaenopsis zebrina. I actually reached out to Gold Country Orchids, and they told me that they got this as a flask from Taiwan from Mainshow Orchids, and the leaves and the shape of the flowers are so different because it is a tetraploid strain. You can see the leaves are sort of big. They kind of look like a Phalaenopsis gigantea. So a lot of people thought that this was a cross between Gigantea and Zebrina, but I got confirmation that this is just a different strain of the Phalaenopsis Zebrina. It's really beautiful, and it's got a very nice fragrance to it. It's a little bit citrusy and plasticky, so I would say it's a mix between my LD Bear's King and my Phalaenopsis Amboinensis. The citrus side sort of makes it very pleasant compared to the Amboinensis, so it's really nice. I was not expecting it to get so large, but that is what you get normally for tetraploid orchids. They just grow much larger, and they're supposed to give you larger flowers and larger structures. So we'll see how this continues to bloom, but overall I'm very happy with this one. an unregistered Bullara hybrid that's a cross between the BLC Love Sound Dogashima crossed with the Epi Cattleya Kyoguchi Diamond Orchids. I picked this up from Sunset Valley Orchids last October and it's already blooming. What I really liked about it was that it was described as being a compact bloomer that's capable of blooming within a 3-inch pot, and I read that they're very vigorous. So it lived up to its word. It bloomed right away. Again, I got it in October and it is already in bloom. I haven't repotted this one yet. I'm gonna be repotting it once the blooms finish off, but this is a lovely one. It smells like honeysuckle and it's supposed to keep a nice tight growth pattern. I saw that Sunset Valley Orchids didn't have this one any longer, but they do have another Bullara cross, and I definitely recommend, if you like smaller type Cattleyas, that you guys check this out. It is a very cute one. Speaking of Sunset Valley Orchids, this one's one of my favorites from last spring. This is the Brassolaelio Cattleya Pauwela Spots, which is one of the Richard Mueller hybrids. It is just so beautiful. The fragrance is so nice. It's like a floral, your general typical Cattleya fragrance, if that makes sense. Very floral and perfumey. The lip is very spotted. What I really like about this orchid is that it changes a little bit every time that it blooms. So last time that it bloomed, it was kind of cold and it opened up a little bit greenish. This time it opened up bright yellow, and I found that last time it just changed over time to bright yellow, so it was nice to see this open so bright and yellow. The spots are very subtle and it's beautiful. A lot of folks with this hybrid, they all look kind of different, so it's worth checking it out. They're not all gonna look the same, but this is just so vigorous. It's the 3rd or 4th time that this blooms for me, and I just love it. This next one is another one of my favorites. This one's the Brassolaelio Cattleya Waianae Leopard Ching. Oh my goodness, guys. This is also the 3rd time that this orchid blooms for me. I got it from Carmela Orchids in mid-2020, and I just love the spotting on this orchid. I think I'm a sucker for spots. I just find them so pretty. What I like about this orchid is that the petals are very waxy, so it has a lot of structure and substance. The lip is very velvety, and you could see the texture. There's a very big difference in the texture between the petals and that beautiful velvet lip. And the fragrance is sweet and spicy. And as I'm editing the video this morning, I'm smelling it from my window. I've moved it over to display it, and when the sun hits it in the morning, oh my goodness, it's highly fragrant. Now I've only gotten 2 blooms with this orchid, and I tried not to disturb the roots last time when I repotted it, but I hope I can get 3, 4, maybe 5 blooms in the next couple of months when it blooms again, but we shall see. But this is just so nice. I really love this one. This next one's a new addition from the Tamiami Orchid Show back in October. This is LC Trick or Treat Mas Naranja. Mas Naranja means more orange, and it's lived up to that name. I got this from the vendor Plantillo La Orquídea. I'm so happy to see that this is blooming already. I've gotten 5 blooms. I'll say that they're not fragrant. It's been open about 4 or 5 days now, and I am not detecting any fragrance, but I hear some folks do have trick-or-treats that do have a slight fragrance to them. If this changes with subsequent bloomings, I'll let you guys know, but this is a first-time bloomer, and it is very pretty. This seems like it's going to be a very vigorous orchid. It hasn't been in my care very long. It doesn't have that many growths, but it was nice to see that it budded up and is in bloom right now. But if you guys like orange little flowers, this is one for you. Dendrobium Green Flash had a bunch of thrips last month, but it recovered, and the spikes that it had left over that I didn't cut off, they're back in bloom. This is a really vigorous one. The leaves are burned because of that neem oil that I gave it. I give it way too much, but I really like how vigorous this is. And that goes for all Latoria types. I find them to be really easy to grow. And speaking of Latorias, I want to give you an update on my Dendrobium chocolate chip. If you guys remember, this orchid was stuck in transit for almost 2 weeks when I got it from Hawaii, and this happened last year. When I got it, all of the buds blasted, a lot of the leaves fell off, it had a ton of issues, but look at it now. It's got so many blooms, I didn't even bother counting, but it's got dozens and dozens of pretty fragrant blooms. It smells sort of like sugar drops, very sweet, a little bit like vanilla, but it's made a full recovery, so I wanted to show you, and I think this is going to be one of my faves. Okay, next up, this one is the Brassolaleo Cattleya Mari's Glory. I'm so happy with this one. This has just, I can't even handle it. So it's got pink flaring on the petals. It's got a very pink lip with that yellow in the throat. And then maybe 2 or 3 days after it opened, I started noticing a fragrance, and it is very rosy and very pleasant. This is a really cheery orchid. It's the first time that it blooms for me, and this is from my Carmela Orchids haul. It took 20 months to bloom from getting it from them, and I am very pleased with it. It's got 4 blooms, and it's a keeper. Once it's done blooming, I'm going to make sure that I repot it into a bigger setup just because it's already growing out of the pot, but just look how gorgeous she is. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna get my plants out of the way so that the construction can begin, and hopefully on Saturday I'll get everything back and we will be back with the repotting videos. I have a goal of repotting 100 orchids in March, so that will start over the weekend. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye everyone!